Good evening. I hope that everyone has got, or not got, but everybody's had a really good start to their week. But the good news is at least we got Monday behind us, right? So tonight we are going to continue our exploration of the court cards. And so we are going to delve into the Knight of Cups. And so I'll hold him up. And so this is our Knight, and this is based out of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So again, look at the positioning. What way is the Knight facing? What are the predominant colors that you see in the picture? Does this card make you comfortable? Not so comfortable? Happy? How do you feel? And yeah, I basically, I think that's the gist of it when we look at our cards. We're taking in all these various clues, taking in the background to kind of assess what's going on. So briefly, last night, I touched upon the Page of Cups, which essentially, pages are messengers. They're inexperienced, novices. They don't take action. They are more so caught up in their minds. So there's a lot of thoughts swirling around, a lot of imagination and fantasy. This is very childlike, is how we look at our pages here, especially the Page of Cups, because remember with cups, we're talking all about emotion and intuition. And so with our Knight of Cups, what we have, so he is a one step up from the Page. So he does have more experience than that Page does. He's got more experience and knowledge. This figure, and again, even though I say he, it's gender neutral. We're talking about the overall energy of that card, so it could be a he or she. This character is very charming, charismatic. They very much are in touch with their emotions and intuition. And so this generally makes them successful. So with romantic endeavors, they are in love with the idea of being in love. So they tend to jump right in without even weighing things out logically. They're going to go in more so with their heart. Because again, this is very much water. Emotions is in play. With careers, this person is very charismatic, charming. They're able to use that to their advantage when it comes to communicating with the people they work with, especially if the person is in any type of supervision, like any type of supervisory position. Their team will more than likely want to follow them because they have an energy about them that's very low key, to where it's like when that person talks to you, you feel like you've got their attention and they're just very energetic and then paying all of their attention toward what you're saying, and you feel so valued. That's the type of individual this is. With finances, again, we're talking emotion and somebody who is moving forward. So it's not like the Page last night where the Page, again, is inexperienced and he's not moving. He's just standing on the beach. There is no horse, no movement. With this card, he is on a white stallion. So when we've talked about it in previous Go Lives, white stands for purity, like, I don't know, like purity, and I don't know. I would say kind of like a chivalrous type thing, even though obviously it's a knight. Like just think about what you associate with white. And so here we've got the blue wings. So again, so we've got a little bit of divine influence there from the universe. He's very much, I don't know. He just kind of goes with the flow, and I'm sure there's some divine influences in play. And his little wings are kind of spanning out behind him. And he comes holding a chalice, and that's what he has to offer. So say with relationships, and I think that's Jen. Hi, Jen. So with relationships, this is somebody where they're going to like sweep you off your feet. Be very, again, charming with the wording. Again, you're going to have to really feel this guy out, because male or female, it could be either one, because they're so charming and seductive, and they're just kind of, again, going with their intuitions and emotions, and all in love with being in love. And again, lust comes into play, very much lust, full of lust. This individual could show up at your door, make you feel like the world revolves around you, and then be gone the next minute. Again, this is a very fickle type romance. And then again, with the same thing with careers. So this is somebody, again, who values their emotions more than logic. So they tend to act more so out of their emotions. So even though they can be charming and people like that, and they love the overall energy, this is a fickle person, to where very much more stock will be placed in, say, the emotional, status of this person. And it's moody. I mean, if we'll go into the reversals, but if it's in reverse, you definitely are dealing with a moody, volatile person, to where the emotions are like all chaotic. Hi, Jen. You have to tell me how you're doing. I hope you're doing good tonight. And so with finances, this is somebody, if they're owing money to somebody, they're going to put on the charm and really try to establish that rapport with that person. Again, this is not someone who values logic. So if there's any type of financial issues, this is not the character who's going to sit down and form like a game plan as to like, okay, this is how I'm going to get my finances in order. So say when it's in reversed, this generally means, again, like I touched on, a very emotionally turbulent person, very moody. They're happy, but then they're like really distressed and sad the next moment. It's an exaggeration of the base meaning that, so we already, when it's upright, have somebody that is just in love with the idea of it, and just very charismatic and so forth. Well, if it's in reverse, that means you better watch out, because there's some little something that this character's not being forthright about themselves. So keep your distance, be watchful and objective. Eventually, once the charade is over and they stop putting on this performance, like think about when you very first date somebody and you're really feeling them out, you'll see who they are as you observe them, especially if they have an agenda. But with this guy, he doesn't even have much of an agenda. It's more about lust and being in love, with the idea of being in love. With finances, this is somebody that's waited way too long and not taken any action to get their finances in order. And this card is saying, hey, you need to step up, and you got an issue with your finances, and do something about it. Same thing with the career. It could show not being in an emotionally good place to have interactions with those around you, showing the need to meditate, to go outside and ground, be outside for a bit, maybe have a counselor, talk to somebody. It just shows that somebody's really struggling and they're not in a good place with work. Things at work could even be tense. So say if this is upright, this is a charming individual who is very passionate about their job, and they can offer different ideas and creative solutions, because again, with the emotions, we're all about even though we're kind of delving into one territory, so I'm not going to get carried away with the creativity, but it's the things that our heart loves. That's what this individual excels at, because again, there's so much emotion involved. And so what I really found too is interesting when I was researching the card. So this cup that he's holding, there's a major arcana card that looks just, I'm not going to say identical. I want you to look at which cup is being held by which hand. So here, and I'll help you look because it's a mirror image, we have his left hand. Okay, so that's his left is holding the reins for the horse. And then it is his right hand that's holding the cup, also known as the chalice. Now, this is Rachel Pollack. Okay, so this wasn't my discovery. This is from reading a book that I'm reading from her. She connected the two. Look at death. Look at the death card. Okay, So with this, we have, let me look here because I'm going to make sure I'm telling you right then. So Death's right hand is holding the reins, okay? Just like our knight here, his right hand is holding the reins here. And then the left, Death is holding that flag that we reviewed in that Go Live, which I won't bother going through again. Just look at the Go Live I did on it. And then here, in that other hand, he's holding the chalice. And if you look, their body positions are the same. They are not galloping, which I took out the other knight so that you guys could see what she's touching upon, which I think is very smart. They are going at a slow and steady pace. The horses are white in coloration. I was like, wow. Like, I thought that was really cool. And then I will hold up the other one so you can compare them. So with the Knight of Wands, we've got this horse and it's going very fast. So this guy right now, he's kind of upright, kind of showing off. But this is a horse that's been going at a fairly good speed, okay? It's not like, say, here. And then we've got this one with our swords. Again, very quickly going in. There is no slow pace. The only other one that might have been similar would be the Knight of Pentacles. But when I looked at it closely, well, the horse is black, not white. It's a different angle, okay? And then he's holding the reins with the left hand, and he's holding the pentacle with the right. So I thought that was pretty cool, being that our other characters, let me hold this back up, because I'm looking as I'm talking to you guys so you get an accurate description of what I'm looking at. So if we're comparing the two, it's this. And so as per Miss Pollack pointed out in her book, that this card is significant then for a change. So our pages, like I touched upon, are all about being inside their head and thought, and they're not taking action. By the time we progress to the ninth stage, that's taking action. But again, with our cup suit, you got to remember the suit that we're in cups. It's all about emotion and intuition. But from a reading, and I kind of already knew this anyway intuitively, and because, you know, obviously with cups being emotion and intuition, these people generally have very good relationships. They're the type of people that are invited to parties and people want them around because they're very fun and they've got a very good energy to them. So that would be that type of person. Now I'm going to look at my notes just to make sure I didn't forget anything. So let's see here. I had touched upon the resemblance to the Death card. So it's seen as a bringer of great change. So this is a person in love with being in love. It could also, if someone's already in a relationship, it could show a proposal. So that would be like this person offering their hand in marriage. Very idealistic, so a lot of ideas, but it's not just like the page where they're caught up in their head. They're taking action on it. Let's see here. And I touched upon how they're very romantic, listening to the heart over logic, presents a prospective relationship, project, or career, with jobs, very diplomatic, creative solutions, very slow moving. And there's a book that Rachel had mentioned was written by Waite, where the cup that this knight's holding was actually obtained by a Sir Galahad, who was from the Knights of Arthur, like that round table, if you think back to that story. So apparently Sir Galahad found the Holy Grail, and the Holy Grail is the cup that Jesus Christ drank from during the Last Supper. Well, when this knight found this, he took a drink, he immediately died, and then the angels took him to heaven. So that's the story of that. And let's see here. And when it's reversed, we're looking at untrustworthy, unreliable, overly jealous, emotional, and moody. And again, it's showing I think this is a valuable insight I didn't mention too. So when it's in reverse, we're not having that forward momentum even because he's already going slow at a slow pace upright. So if he's in reverse, that also means not taking action. So it would be like he'd be on his horse and not making that forward momentum. So I thought that's important to touch upon. But yeah, that whole link that Rachel Pollack did with the death card, I'm like, wow, like I hadn't seen that before, and I thought that was cool. So here is a card, and I think it's a really good reflection of the Knight of Cups. So it's showing this guy, and he's got the red roses, and you know red means like love, you know. He's got that white horse in the background that's all charismatic and ready to go. And it looks like he's got a little picnic laid out with like a love letter. And he's got his hat off, so he's trying to be a gentleman. And he's maintaining that eye contact. And again, this person acts like you're the only person in the world to them. Highly charming and seductive, because they're very much so based out of the emotions and intuition, which makes them very good at their romantic quest. You know, you think of a romance novel, you're going to have the Knight of Cups in there. So I thought the author did a really good job. And I like how there's not a lot going on in the background. So again, it's like you're the only person in the world, you know. And again, you got to watch, because eventually nobody's perfect. That there's going to be some stuff coming out, you know. And then we have this one, and again, look for the commonalities. So we've got the white horse. We have the wings. So just like on, let me find our knight here. Boop, boop, boop. Where did I? Oh, there he is. So remember how I pointed to the wings here? So here we've got the wings. So we've got like divine influence. It's going forward at a leisurely pace, predominantly water. Okay, so you see how the horse is going to try to kind of go on land, but right now it is fully, except for this hoof that's coming out of the water, it's in the water. Very emotionally driven, making that forward momentum. And I love that. I love the different shades of blue. And in the background, it looks like we even have some mountains. So I kind of think that that's like a forewarning that even though it's all fun and games in the beginning, that, okay, just stay tuned, because nobody's perfect. You kind of got to wait, you know, to see if this person hangs out or not. You know, because again, very in love with love and lustful. This one, so in contrast to the little boy we saw last night, who was like the Page of Cups with this chaos going on around him, remember how our page from this deck just kind of like was in thinking and looking at this map with a heart on it. So here we've got this man, and he looks to be a little bit older, okay? And he's actually trying to tend to the sails and address what's going on with that storm. That way, again, when you think of water, you think of emotion and intuition. So he's very good at harnessing those emotions and using that as a means of propelling forward. So I thought that the artist did a really good job of capturing that, you know. I thought that was real pretty. Now, I always leave it off for the card, not based to Rider-Waite-Smith. When I see this card, I don't see a Knight of Cups. So here, you see the cup. You see that it's a knight. But look what she's holding. Okay. And then look at this crow that she's on. Okay. I mean, it looks like it's like onward and forward. To me, this would be more like, I don't know, maybe like a Knight of Cups. They're not a Knight of Cups, but a Knight of Swords. Because I really, maybe it's just me, and you can tell me if you feel similar to me. I don't like the Knight of Cups holding a sword. You know, because again, we're all about our cups right now. And I don't like that in this card, for whatever reason, they chose to make this one the Knight of Cups, you know. And it doesn't have that same energy to it either. I mean, she's a strong, confident person. And yeah, she's about to like try to go onward and upward, maybe have some sort of like battle with some other entity. So very courageous. But I don't get cup vibes from this card. And again, that's why I always say to have a card, or not a card, but a tarot deck based with Rider-Waite-Smith, because this is what happens. If someone's learning, they're going to be all sorts of confused to get a Knight of Cups, but then they're holding a sword, because you'll see the more that you do tarot and really get a feel for it, you're going to quickly identify different symbols for the suit. When you see swords, your mind's already going to go to the sword suit. It's not going to be, thinking about cups. So this was not a good choice. And again, even though I love the art of that deck, the more I use it for teaching, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I don't think it resounds with me, but it's a really good indicator. It really exemplifies why I believe the way I do that. Having a deck based on Rider-Waite-Smith is so important. And that's the truth of it. Especially when you're learning, I think. So I think that sums it up for tonight. And Jen, I'm so glad I was able to catch you on the Go Live. It's always good to see you. And of course, my hubby, who's always supportive. And so I will see you guys tomorrow at the same time, and we will do the Queen of Cups. So I hope you have a good evening, and I'll talk to you later. Good night.